All right, it's time to go keto. And if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with keto. You're probably familiar that it's high fat, low carb. But one of the common questions is, what about protein? And many people just assume I can have as much protein as I want, right? Not so fast. And this right here, missing the protein question here, could be your biggest mistake when it comes to keto and could actually be throwing you out of ketosis. All right, so what's the big deal with protein? I'm really sorry to burst your protein bubble, but getting too much protein is really wrecking your ketosis goals. And here is why. Your body really only needs a certain amount of protein in any given day. When you get too much protein, your body really has no way to store that extra protein and amino acids. Did you know that? So what happens is the body does something really interesting. What it does is it takes all that extra protein and extra amino acids, and it does something called gluconeogenesis. Now, you don't need to remember what that word is, but what you do need to know is that it's essentially taking that extra protein and amino acids and converting them into sugar, so that sugar can then be stored later as fat, right? Which is not good. Nobody wants that. But also, especially if you're trying to get into ketosis, you're trying to switch your body to become a fat burner. Remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to lower our carbohydrates, because carbohydrates, as we talked about on a previous Brain Hack episode, turn into sugar and throw you out of ketosis. So here's the funny thing is a lot of people are getting too much protein, and inadvertently, they're still getting high levels of sugar in their body, which is continually throwing them out of ketosis. Right? And they're continuing to say to themselves, why am I not getting into ketosis? Why am I not getting the goals that I want? It may be because you're getting too much protein. And if you get too much protein, say bye-bye to ketosis. All right, now the second reason I'm going to be talking about why protein is going to be essentially bad for your ketosis is a little bit in an indirect manner. It doesn't directly influence your ketosis, but a lot of people are using keto for weight loss goals. So this can definitely be relating to this. Now, we're gonna be talking about, there's two basic kind of modes, if you will, that the body's under. Your metabolism will either be in a growth mode or a repair mode. Now, there's a lot of different things that influence this, so don't think protein is the only factor that influences these processes, but at any given time, your body's either trying to grow, it's trying to grow new cells, it's trying to build more muscle, or it is trying to break down and repair, basically cleansing, and you would almost call that autophagy. Essentially, is the body cleansing itself, it's trying to kill off dead, sick, damaged cells, it's trying to repair itself and cleanse itself, which is gonna help reduce inflammation, keep the body functioning at a high level. Now, a big factor in this is something called mTOR. And mTOR, you don't need to know the full process, but when mTOR is stimulated, it stimulates growth mode. It basically stimulates more muscle mass. It stimulates also cancer cell growth if it is too excess or too chronic. So there's always an ideal balance we want to have between growth and repair. And as we get older, we tend to want to be a little bit more in a repair mode because we don't need that substantial growth that maybe a child would need. And what we found is that protein actually stimulates mTOR, which increases the growth response. Now, typically that's not a bad thing. That's why a lot of weightlifters like to get a ton of protein. Now, the problem with this is for general health purposes and fat loss purposes, if you are constantly stuck or stimulating the mTOR, you are constantly stimulating growth of new cells. And oftentimes that can also be growth of bad cells and proliferate bad cells, cancerous cells, bad, unhealthy cells. But the problem with that too is you lower your repair mode, which is really important for fat loss because you want to make sure you are cleansing out these sick, damaged cells and mitochondria that are keeping inflammation in your body and keeping you from getting the fat goals that you want. And even just for general health purposes, repair mode and this autophagy is so critical for optimal health. And if you're constantly stimulating mTOR by getting too much protein in constantly, you're not going to be able to get to this repair mode. And that's why things like ketosis and especially intermittent fasting are so popular and getting such substantial results, is because intermittent fasting has been one of the most profound ways to stimulate that repair mode, to stimulate autophagy in the body. So if you're getting too much protein, this can really be throwing off your healthy balance and can be keeping you in this growth mode and keeping you from getting the goals that you want to get with keto. All right, so the question obviously is, how much protein should I be eating every single day? And this is something I actually stole from Dr. Mercola. I found that this works really well for myself and other people who have used this system. It's the easiest way to do it. So we're gonna need to do a little bit of math here, but trust me, I'll walk you through it. It's not too scary. But in order to figure out how much protein you need, you're gonna need to know your lean body mass. And what you'll do is you'll take your lean body mass, divide that by 2, and that's how many grams of protein you should be getting a day. And there's different ways you can figure that out. Now, in order to find your lean body mass, you're gonna need to know your body fat percentage. And there's a couple different ways you can get that tested. You can go to a local gym in your area, they can test that for you. Hydrostatic body testing is also a great way to do it. So what you'll do is you're gonna take your total body weight, multiply that by your body fat percentage, and that's gonna give you your total weight of body fat. So essentially, let's say we have a 100-pound person, they're at 10% body fat, you'll then multiply it and that'll give you 10 pounds of body fat, if that makes sense. Then what you'll do is you'll then take that body fat weight, then you'll subtract that from your total body weight, and that'll give you your lean body mass, essentially. And then what you'll do is you'll take that lean body mass, divide that by 2, and that tells you how many grams of protein roughly you should be getting a day. Now, this will also vary depending on your activity level. If you're doing a lot of high intensity training or exercising, you're doing sports, you will need more protein than just that as well. So give or take, depending on your activity level, will also fluctuate how many grams you'll need. So if you're very active, you live a pretty active lifestyle, you can increase that a little bit and see how that works for you. So that's the easiest way that I've found to find how much protein I get per day. And I've noticed a dramatic difference in finding that level works really, really well for me. And I think it'll work really well for you as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and I will see you guys next week on another episode of Brain Hacks. But before you go, make sure you subscribe by pressing that red button. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.